So I got my jersey reppin', reppin' the first weekend. Sorry that this video is getting posted a little bit later than usual. The Shuffle Squad, if you haven't seen their YouTube channel, highly recommend. They post a lot of great TCG content. They were having a tournament in my area, so I am getting caught up on a lot of recording right now. Gonna be posting a lot tonight and scheduling stuff to get posted this week. But I am excited to start episode 1 of the Tera type series for what I think the best Tera types will be. The place that I need to start with this series is what makes Kyogre so good. So let's talk about Kyogre. Maybe I should have clicked on Gen 4 and then scrolled up just a tiny bit. But Kyogre, what makes Kyogre so good is that it's a water type with the Drizzle ability. So you get water in the rain set up any single time you send Kyogre into battle. So water gets, if it uses a water type move, like its two signature moves, Water Spout and Origin Pulse. Let's talk. Which one's going to be prettier to work with? I think Water Spout with 150 is going to be the best one to work with. Alright, Stab, Water Spout gets a 50% boost. So already, Water Spout's base damage, just because it's a water type using it, is 50% higher. So 50% of 150 is 75. 150 plus 75 is 225 base power to start. Then you add in another 50% boost because it's in the rain. So now you're doing 225. Get the calculator out because this is where things get confusing. 225 times 1.5 base power now is 337.5. No item, no stat boosts. You can usually see people doing the most meta item recently has been a Mystic Water or Wave Incense, which gives it another 20% boost. So times 1.2 has a base power of 405. Like, that is nuts. And you don't even count stat increases at that point. So if you have, like, what I would have loved to see, there's no good way of making it competitive. People have tried. But decorate with Alcremie. Decorate, give a 2 stages raised special attack to Kyogre. Man, that would be nuts. Just nuts. Or a fast poison type move and Dynamax would have been crazy. But regardless, the thing that makes Kyogre so good is boosts on boosts on boosts. So that's where I want to start with Tera typing. Some Pokemon are just going to thrive with the boosts on boosts on boosts. So if we think about what our predictions are for terrestrializing, right now the guess is that it's the same as an adaptability boost if you Tera type into one of the types you already have. So, for example, if we look at Butterfree, this is the first one I'll talk about. If Butterfree, at this point, this is all theoretical, because the games aren't released, we don't know exact numbers yet, but what people are predicting is that if Butterfree terrestrializes into one of its two types, Bug or Flying, it's going to get another 50% boost for one of those two types and make it monotype. That's just the way the language has been phrased on the Pokemon website, so we're going to just work off of that assumption. So that is like a Kyogre in the rain. is what I want to explain it as. So, Kyogre with the 50% boost of stab and in the rain. So, Butterfree, if it terrestrialized into a bug type, let's just say, it would get the regular 50% stab, then the Tera stab, because it's terrestrializing into the same type. So right there, 50%, 1.5 times 1.5 is a 225% boost to stab attacks, which I think is fantastic. And that's where a bulk of Pokemon live in this, like, I'm going to get boosts on boosts, in my opinion. So, Pokemon that I believe would really benefit from the boosts on boost: Butterfree, Pidgeot, Raichu, Alolan Raichu as well, Sandslash, Ninetales. Ninetales would be crazy, 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 because you could also get another 50% boost with Drought for fire type moves, so that's 225 times another 1.5. 225 times 1.5 is 338 percent boost to fire type moves. That would be nuts. Um, Keep on going. Wigglytuff, competitive, just boosts on boosts is really powerful. Venomoth, Alolan Persian, or Cantonian Persian, I should say. Primeape, losing my spot. Rapidash, it's right there. Slowbro, Farfetch'd, Alolan Muck, then Gengar, Hypno, Electrode, Hisuian Electrode, Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, Kangaskhan, especially Kangaskhan with the Scrappy, letting it still hit normal, or still hit ghost types with normal type attacks, could get really powerful. And it eliminates normal types one weakness, or significant glaring issue. Starmie, Mr. Mime, Galarian Mr. Mime, which I think is very, very, very competitive. If you look at Mr. Mime's stat distribution, so totals 460. Galarian Mr. Mime is also 460. Throw an Eviolite on it. There's potential for Galarian Mr. Mime. That wasn't all that explored. I loved running it with Teeter Dance to really just mess with people. Pinsir benefits from the double stab. Gyarados, Vaporeon, Jolteon, Aerodactyl, Snorlax, Galarian Articuno, Zapdos, Galarian Zapdos, Galarian Moltres, Dragonite, Mewtwo, and then Jinx I missed, and Machamp. But one other thing to notice with Machamp, and that's why I wrote him at the bottom of the list, Machamp, I think No Guard and Rock could also be a good way of running it because of Rock Slide, Stone Edge having low accuracy. Getting that stab boost with the insane attack Machamp has, and it also would get rid of the flying weakness. So if they try to hit you with a flying type move before you terrestrialize, or as you're terrestrializing, you take a lot less damage. I think that's got potential as like a defensive type switch. Now let's go back to the top. So, finished exporting one of the Genlock episodes. Highly recommend checking that out. Some dual type Pokemon, I think, really would benefit from terrestrializing into one Tera type more than the other in their dual type nature. So in that first group, I would say it doesn't matter. You can terrestrialize into either of the types if it's dual type. I just think the boosts on boosts are really, really good in that regard. But there's specific Pokemon I think would benefit from specific uh, terrestrial or Tera types, like Beedrill. I think Bug is better than Poison because of one move that it learns, Fell Stinger, with its 50% base power, being able to hit that 225% instead of just that 50% stab, um, could be really, really, really good. Um, because it also raises attack by 2 stages if you can get a knockout, um, which is fantastic. Or is it 3 stages now? I am guessing it's 3 stages now. So if you can land 2 Fell Stinger knockouts, that is pretty good. Alolan Sandslash is up next because of its ability next to Pikachu. There we go. School's starting up soon too, so this episode is great because I can practice warming up my talking voice. Alolan Sandslash. You're gonna use Slush Rush. If you're going to use Alolan Sandslash, Slush Rush is better than Snow Cloak. So you're gonna be putting it in the hail. Steel types don't like hail, just ice types do, so you gotta go ice. Galarian Slowbro is up next because of its signature attack, that Shell Sidearm. There it is, Shell Sidearm. It hits for as much damage as it can already just by may poison opponent, inflicts either special or physical damage, whichever is better. Giving that as much of a boost as possible is pretty great because it's already maximizing your damage output on its own. Dugong, I would make the argument for Ice because of its Ice Body hidden ability. Then Galarian Weezing, I want to talk about because of Misty Surge. While neutralizing gas has a great set of uses in VGC doubles because it turns off all abilities. If you wanted to run a really, really hyper offensive Galarian Weezing, Misty Surge Terrestrialize into Fairy gets you that magical 338 boost because of the Misty Surge boosting Fairy type moves, the Fairy type stab, the Fairy type Tera stab. That could be a monster, and I love, love, love. Where is it? Strange Steam. I know that it's only 20% chance of confusion, but I was landing when I was running a Galarian Weezing on the same team as my Galarian, Mr. Mime. Strange Steam always, always, always got the confusion off. It felt like, yeah. If you're not putting it together, my team was a bit of a meme team, but it relied heavily on confusion and accuracy misses. So, yeah. Yep. Scyther, flying stat or flying Tera type, way better than Bug. I have a reasoning for this. Let's go to Sword and Shield. There we go. Let's take Wing Attack. Base 60. Aerial Ace. Base 60. Acrobatics. Base 55. Aerial Ace? Aerial Ace. Where are you? No, Aerial Ace. I did not realize that. Huh. dual wing be even better. Base 40, base 80 if we're gonna get technical because it hits twice. And then technician, fantastic because that raises those semi or lower powered moves by 50%. Why did I go back? I meant to go forward to. Let's go back to that page with sword and shield. Now let's look at the bug type moves. Fury Cutter, base 40. Yes, it gets more powerful, but that is a base damage adjustment as it doubles. So it doesn't get the technician boost after its after its first consecutive use. So Fury Cutter, when it's getting better, it's also getting worse. X Scissor, base 80, doesn't get the technician boost. U-Turn, base 70, doesn't get the technician boost. X Scissor, Bug Buzz, both not getting technician boost. So if you want to get the technician boost with your terastallizing stab, you gotta use the flying, not the bug. Then last one to mention, let's go back to Ninetales, is up here. This one should be fairly obvious. Alolan Ninetales, Snowcloak is not as good as Snow Warning. If you Tera it into Fairy, you'd be taking residual damage. Not saying there isn't a world where it would be better. I mean, yeah. Snow Warning creates a hailstorm. The effect lasts 5 turns. I'm under the impression that terastallizing into Fairy would make you take hail damage. Like Snowcloak, if we look at other things like Sandveil, that some not rock, ground, steel types have, it creates a hail immunity. I don't think Snow Warning gives that immunity. Like, it doesn't mention immunity there, but it does here. Yeah, just go into ice, get the crazy, crazy, crazy powerful blizzards off, because that would be nuts. Next page of notes, specific ability interactions to talk about. Blastoise, Rain Dish. It gets Rain Dish, so it can heal up a 16th of its HP during rain. So it wants to be in the rain. Stab, water, Tera, water, rain, water. Like, that, you're getting up to that 338 in the rain, and you're getting healing back with its ability. The other Gen 1er that does this and falls into this category is Tentacruel. Only other typing that I want to talk about with Blastoise is maybe Steel. If it tear it into Steel, it resists Grass. So more of a defensive Terastallize, but it also gets access to Flash Cannon, which would be incredible. So two possibilities for Blastoise, either water or Steel. But if it has Rain Dish instead of Torrent, go with the water. Sheer Force and Magic Guard are again those boosts on boosts on boosts type situations, because you can use the Life Orb to get the 30% boost. So I would say for like Nidoqueen and Nidoking, Clefable, Alakazam, and Tauros, I would say run them with Life Orb as you would. And then Tera type in or Terastallize into one of the types they already have for an insane amount of boosts. Because let's see, let's get the numbers. If we click on Sheer Force, so it gives a 30% boost from Sheer Force. So do stat 150 times another 1.5 to get up to 225 because you do the stab, Tera stab. Now we're doing sheer force, so times 1.3. So now we got 3 boosts. And then we add the 4th boost with another 30% for life orb because you don't take the life orb recoil damage. And you're getting up to 380% boost to your damage. So I say that there's a very good case to doing that boosts on boosts on boosts. Percentage increases are so powerful. So anything that has sheer force, definitely go this route. Magic Guard with the Clefable and the Alakazam doesn't get the sheer force boost, but does limit that recoil from the life orb. So highly recommend. It's not going to get up to 380, but it's going to get up to 225 times 1.3. It's almost up to 300%. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck with Clefable and Alakazam. With the recording, but that's okay. So I just finished talking about Clefable and Alakazam with their Magic Guard abilities. Next up is anything with Swift Swim is already a water type. So and it wants to be in the rain. So Swift Swim should be in the rain, terastallizing into water, getting that boost on boost on boost, hitting that 338. There's 4 in Gen 1. They include, I'm going down and working my way up, Kabutops, Omastar, Golduck, and Sea King. Golduck and Sea King. Where'd you go, Sea King? There you are. Those 4 Tera into water because of the boost on boost on boost. Next one, I didn't ever think of this until I was doing this research. Dodrio. Dodrio has a lot of potential, and again, like I was saying earlier, I love those confusion, miss type strategies, probabilities. Like I love those. Tangled Feet raises evasion if the Pokemon is confused. Now it doesn't say if the evasion goes down if it's cured from confusion. I have honestly I've never ever thought of using Tangled Feet on my team ever before. Until right now, because what I realized is Dodrio, crazy fast, crazy high attack. Um, it gets Thrash, which has a base power of 120 now. Used to be 90. In gens 1 through 4. So like you just used Outrage or Pedal Dance. Like you didn't ever think of using Thrash. um, and like that's pretty base power 120. Pretty magic number. So yeah, Tangle, and then you confuse yourself after using Thrash. So you give yourself an evasion boost. Um, I love it. I absolutely love that idea. But you can also Terra Stab into normal type to get that 225% boost onto Thrash. Really powerful. Um, so yeah, I will definitely be looking at Dodrio for competitive if it's in Scarlet and Violet. Because I'd love to figure out how to make Tangled Feet work. Throw Bright Powder on it, so 90% plus whatever evasion boost it gets. So yeah. Expect me to be playing Dodrio, hoping that it's in the game for sure. Next up is the other trio Pokemon, Doug Trio. Sandforce is what I want to talk about. In a sandstorm, it raises the power of ground, rock, and steel type moves by 30%. So, And I believe that also is the case for Alolan Dugtrio. So this is in regards to both of them. You could Terratite or Terrastalize into either Dugtrio or Alolan Dugtrio into Rock, Steel, or Ground. Obviously, Ground for Dugtrio is gonna get you some pretty awesome numbers. Alolan Dugtrio has the addition of Steel type, so you could go Steel as well. But you got it's even faster than Dotrio. But it takes that 10 from its attack and puts it into speed. So it's pretty speedy. You can get a lot of powerful moves. Earthquake, we all know and love. Um, so, or love to hate, some of us. Yeah, I definitely would go Sandforce, Sandstorm, and Tera into one of those three types to get a lot of boosts. Next up, Guts. Guts is the ability, and that goes for Flareon, and for the Pokemon that would actually be better than Flareon, Raticate, because they both have Guts. They can Guts into a Burn Orb or Toxic Orb. I would recommend Burn so it takes less damage, which Flareon could get burned if you tear it into a normal type to use Facade, but the only difference is that uh, Raticate gets starts off as normal type, so it gets up to 225, whereas Flareon would only get the 150% boost, or 50% boost to, or from the stab, from the terrestrializing, not the double stab. Where's Facade? There it is. Facade is definitely the go-to, as a lot of us all know from just using any Guts Pokemon. We always try to put Facade onto it, but now you just make it even more powerful by doubling your stab. Alolan Raticate. Alolan Raticate I did not put onto this list, but it gives me a chance to talk about something I was planning on talking about in a future episode. Thick Fat, and I believe it gets Grass Knot. No, in a future video I'll talk about Thick Fat and the plans that I have for Thick Fat. But Alolan Raticate just, yeah, nobody really plays it. It's too slow. Articuno, the hidden ability on Articuno, Snowcloak, Tera into Ice, get the 225, plus increased evasion by 20%. Next up is one that I'm really excited about. I've always hated that Chlorophyll was a grass type ability in the sun that boosts fire type damage. But grass is weak to fire. So what terrestrializing does with Chlorophyll is it offers an opportunity for a grass type weak to fire to change into a fire type and get a fire type boost with that Tera Blast move that they just announced in the sun with double speed. Really cool opportunity. So Pokemon in Gen 1 with Chlorophyll, Vileplume, Victreebel, Tangela, Executor, and Alolan Executor, which we also have to spend a moment talking about these two. Because they also get Harvest, which also has a boost in the sun. Doesn't say that, but the way it works is Harvest has a 100% chance of creating a berry after one is used in the sun. It's 50% if there's no sun, 100% if there is sun. So either ability Executor and Alolan Executor are very, very, very happy. Alolan Executor, got something else to say about it because it gets access to. Really thought it got access to Flamethrower. There it is. Flamethrower is right there. Yeah, Alolan Executor gets access to a fire type move, which is fantastic. Base power 90, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Because it's that dragon. That dragon. Still cringe that thing's a dragon. Other one that we need to spend a moment talking about is Venusaur. Sword and Shield page. There we go. Scroll down to here. Weather Ball. Base power 100. Fire type in the sun. So let's talk about this. So Weather Ball has a base power of 100 in the sun. You get the sun boost of 50%, so times 1.5. Then you get the terrestrializing stab boost, so times 1.5. It hits 225. Like, it in essence, it is giving you the same effect as the stab on Tera stab, and it changes your weaknesses so drastically. So if we think about what fire is weak to, fire is weak to what things? Water, water, ground, and rock. Oh, what does Venusaur have a lot of access to? These things called grass type moves. What does Venusaur do well against? Water, ground, and rock. So you can terrestrialize your grass type into a fire type, which is weak to 3 types that grass completely counters, and you're going super fast because hopefully you're in the sun. You don't need the stab of grass anymore because you're doing super effective damage. So I think chlorophyll into fire and a fire type Tera is the way to go. Venusaur #1 choice because it also gets that weather ball. Alolan Executor kind of second choice because it gets flamethrower, but we're gonna have to see where Tera Blast's base power lies. Rockhead is a specific ability interaction, starting off with Golem. I would say Tera into normal for a regular Golem because it gets double edge, which is crazy powerful, and it doesn't take recoil. Alolan Golem is way better because it gets the Gen 7, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. It gets access to, I checked this earlier, Alolan Golem, and it gets access to, right down here, Wild Charge. So stab on stab, 225, plus Wild Charge, no recoil. Fantastic. Other ones to talk about is Marowak, which is lower. Marowak. We got 2 Marowaks as well. We got Cantonian Marowak, I would say normal because it's got double edge, but best Rockhead terrestrial Pokemon is definitely Alolan Marowak, because Thick Club doubles the attack stat of Marowak. Alolan Marowak gets Flare Blitz, which has a base power of 120, matching that double edge that Cantonian Marowak gets, but gives it stab on stab, so it's 225. Thick Club gets you up to 450% on that Flare Blitz. Throw that in the sun. You are up to another 225, 675%, which, I mean, that's insane. Alolan Marowak, keep an eye out for it. Granted, it is slow, so you have a lot of chances to counter it. If you can figure out how to boost up that special defense even higher, definitely be scared of that Alolan Marowak. Next up, Fearow. I would say Tera Fearow into ground defensively because you're trying to hit Fearows with electric type moves, which have no effect. Ground also resists rock, so rock type moves are going to hit for less damage. Ice, you're still not going to do that great against. Sniper increases the power of critical hits by a double 1.5, so it's 225% for crits. Give it a snipe or scope lens to boost the chances of critical hits, and then give it drill run for a stab boosted attack once you're in Tera, and it has a higher crit chance of 1/8 instead of 1/24. So definitely drill run ground, change up the resistances. Again, ground weak against grass, but your Fearow would still have moves like Drill Peck that are super effective against grass. You're going to want to stay away from water types though. Last but certainly not least, Charizard gets that solar power, increasing special attack by 50% at the cost of health in the sun, so lean towards fire over flying because you want to be in the sun to really get crazy damage off. Last page of notes. I've mentioned a couple times that sometimes there's that defensive typing that you want to switch into, where we talked about Blastoise being a great example of wanting to Tera into Steel so it can resist grass, and it also luckily has that Flash Cannon. So Blastoise, the defensive switch would be Steel. A lot of times the defensive choice is going to be Steel because Steel resists the most types. It resists normal, grass, ice, flying, psychic, bug, rock, dragon, steel, and fairy. So, and is completely resistant, takes no damage from poison. So that's how many types? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 out of the 16 types don't do that much to steel types. So steel is going, if you're thinking of a defensive terrestrial or Tera type, steel is probably the way to go. Other ones to talk about, Lapras is up first. I would argue that Lapras would most benefit from the rock Tera type because rock, you share the weakness to grass and fighting, but you can, why did I say rock? Water absorb takes care of rock's weakness to water, so if you get your early terastallizing into rock type and you haven't yet revealed your ability to be water absorb type attack, but that goes away because you have water absorb. Ground would be the secondary defensive type I would recommend for Lapras for the same reasoning. If they try hitting you with a water type move, you just take it in. But flip side, I'd pick rock over ground because Lapras gets access to Ancient Power, which is a special type rock move. You want to use special attacks. Never knew that. Attack and special attack are the same. So yeah, maybe ground is the way to go because Bulldoze is a pretty helpful attack. Same base stat, more PP for Bulldoze. Yeah, so defensive Tera type to you really efficiently use your water absorb. Next up, we've got Jesse and James's combo. Arbok and Wheezing. Cantonian Wheezing. I say go into Dark type, obviously because Poison, weak against Psychic. Dark, immune to Psychic. So that is my primary reason. And then both of these Pokemon get a lot of access to Dark moves. Like, if you're just looking, they almost have an equal number of Dark moves to Poison moves that they can learn. Um, I'd argue if we go through and actually count, there's a good chance that there's actually more Dark than Poison on Arbok's list. And then if we go down to Wheezing, definitely more Poison, but still a good chunk of Dark moves. Dark Pulse, Payback, Thief. Uh, so Assurance. Like there's a good chunk of Dark moves that both of them can learn, and just switching from a Poison to a Dark type kind of just is a good way of thinking about it. Galarian Rapidash, I'd say Steel is a good way to go. Galarian Rapidash, because Fairy, weak to Steel, so but Steel resists Steel. So if you're a Steel type, so Galarian Rapidash, let's start from the beginning. Weak against Poison, Steel, Ghost. Steel resists Poison and Steel. So takes normal damage from Ghost, but 2 out of your 3 weaknesses are resisted by Steel. So by going into Steel, you get to take a not very effective hit if your opponents don't see it coming. And it gets access to Smart Strike, a indefinitely accurate move with a decent base power, so like that's not that bad. Clefairy and Jigglypuff go into Steel because you want your Jigglypuff and Clefairy to have Friend Guard on the field as much as possible, which it reduces the damage done to your allies in a double battle, so definitely want to keep it on the field as long as possible, which you maximize by maximizing your defensive type coverage, which Steel covers. Pikachu. Can't do a Pokemon special without giving Pikachu a little bit of extra attention. I would say the best Tera type for Pikachu, in my opinion, all of these are my opinion, but especially for this one, I would say that the best Tera type could be, maybe it is Water. I think there's also an argument for Grass to get Grass Knot. Surf would be also good. Actually, the more I think about it, I have Grass written into my notes, because a lot of ground types are also rock types or steel types, which are heavier. So I feel like there's a good argument for Grass, but the more I think about it, Water might be better because you also get Lightning Rod. And I was just thinking about Static. Lightning Rod gives you that special attack boost, so if they try to hit you for a water weakness with an electric type. Why did I pick Grass? I picked Grass because Grass resists ground. Was why I picked Grass over Water. And Water does not resist ground. So usually people will try to hit Pikachu with a ground type attack, and this is falling under that defensive switch in typing. So you want to get hit by not very effective attacks. So if you can get a powerful stab boosted Grass Knot and take a ground type attack, you're in a pretty good position to strike back. And Light Ball is just a good item on Pikachu, so you gotta include it on the list. Muck. Where are you, Muck? Here you are. I used to run an Alolan Muck on my competitive team during Sun and Moon. And stats are pretty comparable between these two. They are exactly the same. There's no change except in typing. But what I would do with Muck is I would use two specific moves. I would use Curse and Shadow Sneak. So I think getting a really boosted Shadow Sneak off by terastallizing into a Ghost type, into a Psychic type, would be really good. That attack is surprisingly high. I think Muck is underrated, and you also have the chance of Poison Touch, poisoning your opponent with a Shadow Sneak. Definitely underrated Ghost type Muck. Calling it now. Right next to Muck in the Pokédex is the Cloyster line. Cloyster, I would make the argument for a bug type Tera, or Tera into bug type, because Cloyster is weak against grass and fighting, which is resisted by bug. So being able to resist two of your weaknesses is a good defensive switch. And then you also have Skill Link with, where are ya? Pin Missile. There you are. Pin Missile is the second most accurate multi-strike move that Cloyster can learn, just behind Icicle Spear. But you get to get a stab Skill Link Pin Missile off into a double resist. So, or resist two of your types, two of your original weaknesses. So I think that is going to be really good. That concludes my talk about defensive Tera typings. Next up is one I'm really excited to talk about. We got two more situations. One is a move interaction that will be very interesting to see how it works with Arcanine. Arcanine is just a great Pokemon because of its ability to intimidate. Hopefully Intimidate doesn't get nerfed. If you're planning on using Arcanine, I would love for it to get nerfed because it's just too good. Need some water. So, I would say Arcanine, if it's in the game, is going to be really good, because it could terastallize into a fire type. And here's why you might want to do that with a special attacking Arcanine. Arcanine special attack variants were popping up more because of the move. Let's go to Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield. Where are you? Snarl. Special attack started popping up more and more. Heat Wave, also great attack. But I think there's a better attack. Burn Up. It does 130 base power, matches Overheat in power, but it loses its fire type. It loses its fire type, so you can only use Burn Up once per battle, traditionally, because you can only lose your fire type. If you terastallize into a fire type on your second turn, you could potentially use Burn Up again. You could use a more powerful Burn Up your second time, which is crazy to me. And then you can do all of those wonderful, we gotta scroll down to Gen 3 for this. You could potentially Wonder Guard with all of those doubles, strats. You can give yourself Wonder Guard into your entrainment and all that jazz. You could Wonder Guard a no-typed Arcanine that has used two burn-ups. Essentially, what I'm saying is send out, get everything set up for your Wonder Guard strat, or lead with Arcanine, double burn-up, take 2 KOs, then set up your Wonder Guard strat onto a no-typed Arcanine. I don't know the ordering of the moves or sequencing, but I think that is a incredible opportunity. So highly recommend somebody figure out how that sequencing of events would work. Um, Wonder Guard Burn Up. The other Pokemon that learns Burn Up is Moltres. If you didn't notice, that was the last legendary bird we hadn't talked about yet. Learns Burn Up at 65 in Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, 65 in Sword and Shield. Now, there is one final evolution that I have yet to talk about in all of Gen 1, and it is the one I am most excited about. This will, if it is in the game, it will be on my competitive team, and it'll be Parasect. And it will have Dry Skin. Dry Skin, when hit by a water type attack, instead of taking damage, it heals 1/4 of your Pokemon's maximum HP. When hit by a fire type attack, it does 25% more damage. So, if we just round ballpark it, you don't take damage from water type attacks. You take a little bit less than super effective damage from fire type attacks. And you can also either lose health in the sun or gain health during the rain. We're not going to talk about the weather, but I want to talk about the typing. So, loses health or takes more damage from fire type moves. Oh look, rock type resists fire type moves. But oh man, rock type's weak against water, but it doesn't take damage from water type attacks because it just absorbs them. So you are going down to just weak against grass, fighting, ground, and steel. Let's talk about it more. Parasect gets bug type moves, can beat grass. Gets grass type moves, can beat ground. Fighting and steel is the only other two things that you have to worry about. Which it gets Aerial Ace for fighting types. Steel, you're gonna Brick Break. Brick Break for steel. So as of right now, if Parasect is in the game, here is how I would be running my Parasect. I would be running Tera Blast for a rock type move because it doesn't naturally learn rock type attacks except for Wide Guard. So there's that. Then I would be running a X-Scissor, I'm guessing, because it doesn't really learn any physical grass type moves. I don't think it was. Oh, it wasn't Sword and Shield. Oh no, not in Sword and Shield. So that's part of the trouble right now is we don't have the most updated move list. But Tera Blast, X-Scissor, or if it's not going to Terrasilize and you need a stab type move, Aerial Ace, Brick Break. That thing's a beast because no one's going to expect Parasect. Calling it now. No one's going to see, oh, why is that team got a Parasect? Oh, it's a rock type. Oh no, my flying type dead by Tera Blast. It's still incredibly slow, so it'll need some Trick Room support, but there's plenty of ways of getting Trick Room up, so I think this is the way to go. Dry Skin, Parasect, Tera Rock type is the best way. It's the Pokemon I'm most excited about. We do have a Paras on the team in the Genlock, or that we caught in the Genlock. It's not on the team right now. Could be. After planning all this episode out, I'm thinking about putting it on the team because I'm just so excited. So if you like this, I'm going to be doing it for the next couple weeks with each generation. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. The future episodes will probably be shorter because we will have discussed a lot of the situations, like specific interactions with typing, like Rain Dish. You want to Tera into water type, all that stuff. Chlorophyll into fire type because there's a bunch of chlorophyll Pokemon each generation. So we talked about a lot of that already in this episode. So don't expect these to be as long in the future, but stay tuned because we've got another 7 generations to go. Take it easy, all.